Welcome back to another MSDP tutorial video. In this second video in the Make Your Own Modules tutorial series, we're going to open up our first MSDP template, and we're going to look at how we can navigate through this to understand how to use it to build our own modules. If you haven't watched the first video in this series, it is critically important that you watch that before you get started, and I'd recommend you do that before continuing with this video. But assuming that you have, we're going to pick up from there. So we have the developer console open on the left. Again, we have to have that open before we do anything else. And I have navigated back to the templates folder in the source code folder. So that's source code, system files, modules, and templates. We have a variety of templates in the MSDP folder to help us get started with a variety of different types of modules. Today, we're going to start with a very straightforward one, the filter template. If I double click on that, that will open up into presentation view. And before we actually crack this open, I want to show you that these modules, even in this state, can be played with and explored in the program. So if I go back to the developer console and click Create New Board, we now have a blank pedal board, and I'm going to show you first that we can hear sound from the developer console. So if I open up a synthesizer and hit a note, we do see that amplitude here, and if everything is routed appropriately through your audio interface, you should hear that sound coming out to your speakers. In the same way, these modules are already ready to communicate with each other, and if we wanted to send this over to here, we can use our familiar methods to route signal into the template and through it. So this is a very brief delay. We'll set a 0.5 second delay on that. I'll hit the note, and then half a second later we'll hear it. So that's just to demonstrate that you can test out your modules as you work on them. But I'm going to close that now, and let's crack this open. So I'm going to switch from presentation view into patching view, and let's see what this looks like. So looking at this patch, it might be surprising how simple this is. I've put a lot of work into streamlining this process, and do keep in mind that I am making this video in March of 2019. The templates that are saved are always kept up to date with the most recent modifications to the patching flow. And so you might be looking at something a little bit different than what you see here, but it is important to always have that most up-to-date version of the code at your disposal. First, in all the templates, all of the system critical information is on the left-hand column. This is the tooling that's required to make the module communicate with the rest of MSDP. Anything to the right of this column will include our custom code that we've built ourselves. On the far right, we see the MSDP Builder tool, which is a tool that makes it easier to create parameters and UI objects. We'll come back to that in a later video. So at the bottom of the left-hand column, we see a section titled Parameter I/O. This section includes all of the tooling that's used to bring parameter information into the module and to send parameter information out of the module. This set of tools does not need to be modified by the developer at all. It will communicate with everything for you. And actually, if we touch it, if we change the ordering of some of these modules or some of these objects, we can actually break this if we're not careful. So I do recommend that we leave the parameter I/O tooling exactly as it is. Above the parameter I/O section is another set of objects called the audio signal I/O section. And this contains a series of B-patchers that include some MSDP common functions, like our signal in patcher, where we can receive signal from anywhere else in our MSDP chain, and our signal out patcher, as well as a pre-built MSDP volume dial to control the master volume out for the module. So the great thing about this tooling is that we can connect this into any code that we make to automatically have everything synchronize and communicate with other parts of our signal flow in MSDP. This means that making our own functions, our own filters, is as simple as sending a signal in, doing all the filtering that we want to do, and then sending that signal back out following the correct signal flow into the msdp.ui.outputs bpatcher. So again, all of the tooling needed to get things working in MSDP exists in this left-hand column. That's it. Everything else that we do is just sending signals or sending data or sending video into the tooling on the left-hand column. And we'll come to that in the next video when we make a very simple comb filter using the filter template patch. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back soon with more MSDP tutorial videos.